Yo, and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerd Man, and today we're going to be talking about Captain America. So, did Falcon and Winter Soldier disrespect the Shield? Did it disrespect Captain America? I know some people are big Captain America fans, and they have some big opinions on this. Today, I've got with me Fenya, the Ice Wolf. I love that. And we've got philosophical pickle himself, the breaker of chains.
No, I put people in chains, nerd man. And if you want to get put in a chain, come subscribe to Philosophical Pickle on YouTube. I talk about comics, movies, actors, video games, just geeky stuff.
Yeah. So, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Let's start off with what we all think of the show. So, I like the show. I know that it has some kind of racial dimensions to it that have become a little bit controversial recently. My opinion on that is it's, when I say I like the show, I only like the show after the last episode. So everything leading up to that, I didn't find that compelling, including the racial elements of the show. But I wasn't offended by it. I wasn't like, oh, wow, like this is offensive. I just thought the whole thing wasn't that coherent until the last episode, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to like this now, and I'm starting to see where they're going with this, and it became a little bit more intriguing. I feel like they could have skipped a few of those episodes there and just truncated it a bit and got to that last episode a bit faster. So that's my general opinion. I'd like to hear everyone out. This is an open, safe space for anyone to say what they want. Well, actually, obviously, don't be whatever. But I know you both are.
Oh, we can say anything we want to? Okay, then. Shitballs.
Yeah, don't be like ridiculous. No, of course, anyone to say their opinions, and this is going to get a little bit political. So,
okay. I'm gonna put it out there. I disliked the character. Okay, what? No.
I was just gonna say, what's your general opinion of the show first? Just an introduction to what your general opinion on the show is first.
Okay, in the beginning, it was okay, but it started going very downhill the second they started bringing all the political crap. I mean, I disliked the scene with the whole bank thing because it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, in the first episode alone, Falcon talked to Rhodey. I'm pretty sure he could easily take a call to Pepper, who would most likely give him billions if he just asked. I mean, literally, Star International is not that much down economically,
That's a good
so
point.
It didn't make much sense. Plus, he also has connections to T'Challa, Bruce Banner. I'm pretty sure they could all fix a boat without a problem. So a lot of ways this could have been solved.
Go and ask them for money, though. To be honest, I mean, why would he want to?
He doesn't even need to ask money. He can literally just ask for someone to fix the damn boat.
No, that's true. That's true.
Well, his sister's whole thing was that she was like too prideful to ask Sam for help, and Sam was like, fuck that, let's go to the bank and get this loan, let's do it. So Sam was gung-ho. He'll do anything for his sister, for his family. So that's a great point. I definitely would believe that he would say, hey, Pepper, could you help me fix this boat, the bubblegum shrimp boat, you know what I'm saying?
Bruce Banner definitely be able to do it. You're right about that. I'm sure about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, we're talking about Sam literally has access to some of the smartest people in the world. He literally should take that more advantage of that.
I'm going to try and navigate this a little bit so that we stay on topic. Okay.
Okay.
So your thoughts on your general thoughts on the show? You were liking it up until a point, or I didn't quite get the rest of it.
The scenes that killed all this for me were the bank scene, and when they brought one of the characters I hate the most in comic books, Isaiah Bradley. Really don't like that character.
Okay. All right. We're going to get back to that. Philosophical Pickle?
Got to be honest, I'm enjoying the show a lot. A lot of elements to like about the show. It's not fantastic. It's not great. And I do think that it started off strong, and it's kind of gotten to a point where I've kind of expected a little more 5 episodes in. I mean, we only have 1 episode left. I expected a little more of an emotional punch last episode between him and Bucky. they have 3 different storylines, a lot of different shit to wrap up within an hour. So I'm thinking it's not going to end super well, but I think there's equal parts good and bad. There's some stuff that we'll get into, political stuff that I don't think was needed. I think they could have done a little bit less of it. I think there's some inconsistencies with Sam's character, and I think they absolutely not only are disrespecting, but squatting down and taking a fat dump all over Steve Rogers' legacy, and I don't like it.
Okay, I'm gonna let you explain why. I'm just gonna say that because I want to bring this up before I forget, that one thing that I have to say about the racial issue is that I do think that if they hadn't have brought it up, people would have been like, "Oh, why didn't you bring it up?" I'll go into why I think that a little bit later, because like he is becoming the first Black Captain America. That seems to be the trajectory of the story. I don't know, but that seems to be it. And I like him. I didn't like him for Captain America before this show, but now in the last episode, I kind of see it a little bit. So I'm kind of, edging towards like, oh, okay, let's see what happens with him as Captain. I'm not sold on it, but I'll see how he does. But that being said, there's the political dimensions of him being a Black Captain America, and I think they had to address that. Did they address that in the best way? That's a question we'll ask on this.
No.
So why do you think they took a big dump, as you said, on Captain America? That's what I'm curious about, because I don't see it.
Can I just say one thing? I mean, I heard Isaiah's quote saying that America will never accept a Black superhero, specifically a Black Captain America. But it's weird because the U.S. easily accepted War Machine as the Iron Patriot with no problem whatsoever. I even don't know why they took Iron Patriot out of the MCU. I mean, I did love Iron Patriot as a character. I mean, I'm a huge fan of patriotic superheroes, especially if they're American ones. Because they really are pretty shiny and hopeful. I always like that kind. For some reason, we can't have those kinds of characters anymore.
Yes,
That's just sad.
Philosophical Pickle, you're on mute.
I think he knows he's on mute.
I don't think he knows.
I didn't know it, guys. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, my mic got unplugged. I haven't been speaking, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, and Fenya, so why did they take a dump on Captain America? Explain.
Didn't I just say everything?
Well, I didn't hear it because I was like trying to like get philosophical. I thought Philosophical Pickle was speaking.
You gotta be kidding me. I was talking all this time.
I was trying to tell you, wait a second, but you continued. So go on, please. I heard
Sorry. Sorry, it was pretty much just the whole spirit. Okay, my problem was with the whole. Okay, you all heard Isaiah Bradley's quote to Sam that America will never accept a Black superhero, specifically Captain America, as their symbol, which is bullshit because they easily, without a problem, accepted Rhodey as Iron Patriot, which, again, to me was an awesome character. Don't know why they got rid of it. I really love patriotic superheroes, especially if they're representatives of the American flag, which is always great because they're always trying to do the very heroic part. It's very sad that we can't have those kinds of characters anymore.
I've got a response to that, which is that Captain America is a little bit more iconic. So I think Iron Patriot could have, when it happened, it really didn't have the kind of impact that something like Captain America's legacy has. So I don't think people focus too much on like, oh wow, this is an American symbol superhero. When for Rhodey, they more saw him as War Machine than
but again, I remind you that America literally disowned Captain America when he went AWOL after Civil War. So Iron Patriot kind of went up in the ladder. Thanks politically.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? It's not the same as Captain America. So to say that he's just, it's like saying let me hear what philosophical people. I kind of get what you're saying as well. But I've got a response to that. But I want to get both of you to like say what your thoughts are first. So philosophical pickle, why did it take a dump on?
To quote the average Sam Wilson, that Shield has a complicated history. No, it doesn't. It has quite the opposite. It has quite the straightforward, all-American great history. And this last episode, really, the writers really revealed their true intentions. Like when he said, they will never let a black man be Captain America. That was the writers not so subtly telling us what they actually think. And I love the first episode because Sam was looking at the shield. He was doing a lot of good face acting. You could really see it on his face. I don't know if I can live up to Steve's shoes. Am I good enough? That's great. That's a great setup. After episode 1, every single thing and every obstacle that Sam has run into, there hasn't been a single time where he has proven that he can be Captain America because of the person he is. Every time he ponders if he can be Captain America is because of his race. The bank scene, his sister, Carly Morgenthau, Isaiah Bradley, they just keep bringing it up every episode. Now that it's not about if Sam is a good enough of a person. It's about, can I do it if I'm black? And like he said, War Machine was black. Yes, Captain America is more iconic. And I know that the shield represents America to a lot of people. But just because one racist thing happened to Isaiah Bradley after Steve Rogers became Captain America, that's not Steve Rogers' fault. That doesn't tarnish the shield. I would understand if they...
The show saying that Steve Rogers did it, or
So
Steve
I'm saying Isaiah Bradley's story. He's saying everything I went through. A couple quotes. You're out there chasing that white man's shield. Those stars and stripes don't mean nothing to me. They've been wiping out my history. Like, I get his story, but when he says that they won't let a black man be Captain America, he's living in 1940. I get that things mean different things to people nowadays. There's police brutality. People are treated differently, but it's not 1940 anymore. People aren't going to go out and lynch Sam Wilson because he's Captain America. They didn't care about this whole race thing until this year, until everything that happened last year, when Sam was, every single time we see Sam out in public, people give him a knuckle bump or go, Sam, Falcon, let me get a picture with you. People love the Falcon. They loved him years ago. They loved him when he was fighting aliens. They love him now. So giving him the shield, people, perfect example. People hate John Walker as Captain America. Why? Because he's not Steve Rogers. It doesn't have anything to do with his race. It's because Steve is Captain America. You can't live up to that. But now they're completely just making it about, can I be Captain America because I'm black? Of course you can be. Of course, if you were Captain America, racists are going to come out and say, you can't be Captain America, you N-word. But guess what? Where were the racists when they introduced Falcon as a black member of the Avengers? They didn't focus on race back then because it didn't matter to them, to their agenda. Now they're making Sam's whole story about race. Carly Morgenthau said that the shield represents a bygone era that doesn't care about people of color. And Sam contemplated destroying the shield, but now he wants the shield. You're shitting on that shield. That shield represents the best of America.
I was with you. Even though there's certain elements I'm not sure about that. I want clarification.
Where did I lose you at?
In what you've lost me on that last point. He wanted to destroy the shield because he didn't think anybody could live up to Steve Rogers. He didn't think it was a good idea for the American government to just give it to some guy.
But there's the thing I don't understand about that. Sam didn't want to be Captain America. He gave the shield to the government. So he literally gave them the shield. They could do whatever the hell they wanted with the shield.
He didn't let me clarify what I'm saying so that you can argue the point that I'm making. He didn't destroy the shield. He didn't say, let's destroy the shield because it's a symbol of white oppression. He said, let's destroy the shield because he doesn't think anybody could live up to Steve Rogers. Like Steve Rogers was special.
That wasn't said.
He
says that directly after he talks to Isaiah Bradley. That's the first conversation was when Sam's was like, "Oh, I'm thinking differently now." No, and he tells Bucky, "Maybe I should have just destroyed it."
He says he should have destroyed it not because of him being black. He said he should have destroyed it because of the Steve Rogers connection to it.
They didn't mention Steve. They're not mentioning Steve at all.
Maybe they should have mentioned Steve, but what I'm saying is that's the reason. It's not because he said, "Oh, it's a symbol of white oppression, and therefore the shield should have been destroyed." He was saying the shield should have been destroyed. As I said, I don't want to repeat myself. That's getting cumulative now, but like again, the reason for the destruction of the shield was a bit more of his feelings towards no one can live up to it. I think hadn't that Captain America, the new one, had already like fucked up by then, right? He'd already killed.
It was he said it, I believe, in episode 3. They met John Walker one time, and then he had the conversation with Isaiah Bradley. They were in the room with Zemo, and he was telling Buck, or he told him on the plane, maybe I should have destroyed it. John
Walker should have had killed the guy by the time he said that, right? No?
He said it like an episode or 2 before he killed that guy. That would have been better, but they haven't alluded at all to Sam not living up to his shoes. They're only alluding to the race. I would love if he hasn't said one time, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do what Steve did. It's been about race ever since Isaiah Bradley. And I think, yes, if there's going to be a Black Captain America, address the race. A few times, it's going to happen. But don't make every single characteristic about Sam now about his race in every episode.
Okay, that's really good points there. I'm not sure about your timeline there of when he said that. I'll have to look that up. But I recalled him, if he did say that, him saying that like after John Walker had already killed the guy, basically.
No, he said it in episode 3.
One thing I must mention, though, about this whole thing about Captain America and the super soldiers that doesn't really make sense. It's not about the racial element of the show, but it's one of the critiques I have about the show. They're treating Captain America as if he has like the kind of power that Superman has, as if his presence in the world is so potentially threatening, right? Like that. It's like this world global. It has some global significance, and I'm like, not really. It's Captain America. He's a super soldier. He's not even the most powerful guy in the Avengers. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really have. It doesn't matter so much whether Captain America. Do you understand what I mean? Like the way they talk about super. Oh, his power just went out. Jesus. All right. Yeah, the way they're talking about Captain America and the super soldiers at the moment, just it gives them a kind of power level that I don't really understand. Like any mutant or what are you looking at?
Me?
Yeah, because I'm unfocused because you're looking around at things.
So I'm looking at my laptop screen. I have my laptop screen kind of like bent down because the sun is heating my laptop.
Oh, sorry, man. Any mutant or any like the Hulk or Thor or any like if they were talking about passing on the power of Thor, then I'd understand all of this kind of deep discussion about like, you know, the who can get the shield. They're going on like the shield doesn't have powers. It's just the shield like you throw around and it comes back.
Now that's something that I disagree with you, that I think that's a great thing. It's the symbol of the shield because the shield has such a good history. The man who wielded it was one of the greatest men ever to live. That's why when Sam says the shield has a complicated history, it doesn't. Just because you heard one story from Isaiah Bradley, a terrible racist story, that doesn't have anything to do with the shield. The shield represents freedom. It represents saving the world from aliens. It represents the man who would jump on a grenade that would save his best friend, that saved hundreds of people in the war, black, white, Asian, whatever. It's something that brings us together. And now they're acting like it's this big thing that it's like the shield. Should we destroy it? Carly Morgenthau, that shield is about Nazis in a bygone era. Shut the fuck up. The shield has nothing to do with that. The shield is the best of America.
I think they're equating the shield to like something like the American flag. That's
Yes.
basically what they're equating it to, which is a separate thing from what I'm talking about. But what you're talking about is more on point for the conversation we're having. So they're talking about the shield as if it's the American flag and what the American flag represents. And the American flag has a complicated history. I think if you look at it like that, then even though that's not exactly what the shield is what you described. It's about a man who fights for the little guy, who's always, going, he's always roots for the underdog. He's the type of guy who probably would have, if he was around during the civil rights, would have been right there with everyone fighting, the government, like, and J. Edgar Hoover, and he would have, said, no, this is what the American flag symbolizes. It symbolizes freedom. It symbolizes, hope. It symbolizes equality and respect for all people. I think he definitely would have been that. Unfortunately, he was never around during that period of time. So I get that. I get what you're saying. But if you look at it as the American flag, and what they're discussing is America, because he's Captain America and the American flag, then you can see where this complicated history that they're talking about kind of derives from. And again, just to finish off my point, and I'll let you respond. We talked about the other day regarding this about we talked about the American president, like President Obama, and how when you get somebody who, because in story, Falcon, no one would worry about him. You're right. Like there's never been some subtext within the MCU that anyone even really worries so much about race up until Black Panther, right? You wouldn't even think that it's, the same America as the America we're living in right now. It's like it's a kind of alternate world America, right? And so in terms of race, it's never really come up about like what they represent. But I think they're talking about what people perceive of Captain America outside of the in-universe. They're talking about us, what people outside think of Captain America and what they think of what represents America. So I'm not trying to justify, I'm just trying to throw that out there as an idea of why they're talking about it, even though in universe, I think everyone likes Falcon, right? As you said, it's not like, I don't think people would be so bothered by it. But outside, people might have different opinions. And so that leads on to the last thing, which is about President Obama. We spoke about it when you have a traditionally white, like something that's gone to like white people, like a job or something that has traditionally in America gone to white people, that how Obama was looked at and how what were Obama's thoughts as he was taking on that title. He must have contemplated, I am going to be the first Black president. What does that mean? Am I sure? He must have had doubts. He must have had feelings of, anxiety. How are people going to take me and whatever? So to me, it makes sense that, Falcon is feeling those things, and he is, he is torn, and he is, I'm sure Obama probably spoke to old Black people who were like, don't become president. They'll kill you. They'll find out. You remember what they did to Martin Luther King? You remember what they did to Malcolm X? They'll assassinate you, bro. And he was like, no, I've got the belief that things have changed. I know how things were in your time, but things have changed. But again, when he did become president, there was a contingency, a small contingency of people who were like, Black president, not sure about that. That's not my America. And they went on to support Donald Trump. And we talked about Donald Trump a little bit. And you said, that Donald Trump, people didn't like Obama because of his policies. And I said, that's not quite true. And there was something I forgot, and this is my last point. There was something I forgot that Donald Trump did, and it shows that it represents more than just a small, contingency, but a very vocal contingency that has like power, which is, he was like, is Obama even American? Is he let's check. I think he's from Kenya. Is he from Kenya? His name's Obama, it's like Osama, all of these things kind of came out. And again, I think if you look at like what's happening with Captain, what's going through Sam's thought process, it's realistic that he would have to address some of those issues, some of those thoughts. Like that's my point. Go.
Okay, let me tell you. Sam Wilson will be the best Captain America we've ever seen. He's going to be unbelievable. You won't even believe how good he'll be, okay? When he got into the office, before Sam Wilson got in there, the shield was garbage. You wouldn't believe it.
Tremendous.
You wouldn't even believe how bad it was. But now Sam's here. It's unbelievable the job he's done. Just to let you know that.
And it's tremendous. You forgot tremendous.
and Bucky is a tremendous vice president. You wouldn't even believe it. So I like what you said. I agree. But does every episode have to touch on it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2 or 3 of the episodes. Maybe just 2 episodes or 1 or a few lines. Yeah, address it. But the difference between Obama and Captain America is the fact that I get that the shield, it's literally he's Captain America. He represents America. But he was made as a propaganda piece to sell war bonds and go around and dance with women. Yeah, he's a political figure. But when he was unfrozen from the ice, he became more than that. He represented something more to people, the American dream. And it's not like it had been a line of 44 different white Captain Americas, and now Sam is the first black one. There's been one Captain America, and it's not about race. It's not about his hair color or his eye color, where he's from. It's about who he is. And I think this show has lost kind of who Sam is. Every time he stops and contemplates what he's doing, it's about race. Every time. Like, can you tell me a characteristic about Sam other than he likes to fix his sister's boat? And it's the fact that Carly Morgenthau, she's supposed to, I can't stand her. She's a terrible, we'll talk about this when we do our review. She's a terrible villain. And we're supposed to not like what she's saying.
The English, the flag smasher.
Yes. Okay. Carly Morgenthau, she's terrible. I hate every time she opens her fucking mouth. The fact that she's saying all these things about Captain America, and the fact that Sam is empathizing with her at all is disrespectful to Steve. He's acting like Steve. Maybe I am going to question Steve and the shield. No, dude, you were there with him for years, like on the run with Steve for like 8 years, killing aliens, taking names, kicking ass. You love Steve. He was your best friend. The only time he's ever defended Steve in 5 episodes is when he told Isaiah Bradley, hey, Steve didn't lock you up. And then, I know it's just one little line, but when I get when he was telling Bucky, hey, be your own person. It doesn't matter what Steve thought. Tough love. Forget what he thought. Go and be your own dude. But I can't let that go because Bucky's whole entire character over the past 5 or 6 years was purely what Steve thought about him. Bucky doesn't work as a character without Steve. The Winter Soldier, Civil War, everything they went through, breaking the Constitution, being a criminal, fighting each other. It was all for Bucky. It was his whole character hinges on what Steve thought. Nobody else in the world thought that he was a good person, but Steve was the only one who fought for him. His whole character hinges on what Steve thought. And now Sam is just forgetting Steve, saying, hey, fuck that white guy. It doesn't matter what he thinks. And then,
hey, don't slip fuck that white guy. Come on.
That's what the writers are saying.
That bit's nothing to do with the race. I was agreeing with you, but that bit's nothing to do with the race.
I went a little too far. But But the fact that he said that really rubbed me the wrong way. And just to get away from the political shit, the fact that Sam can, and he does have a training montage where the shield is wobbling and he's having a hard time catching it. But at first, he's just chilling, talking to Bucky, just slinging the shield like Cap can. Like they're tarnishing the fact that Cap could even throw his shield. Now they're saying that anybody with military experience can throw it. John Walker can throw it. Sam can throw it. The shield weighs 12.5 pounds. The only reason you can throw it that hard and make it bounce off of stuff is because you have the super soldier serum. Sam wouldn't be able to catch the shield and throw it like he is. In every single aspect, they're acting like Steve didn't exist. Let's move on. Anybody can be Steve. And I don't like the way that they're going. And I know for a fact that in that suitcase is a new Captain America suit and he's going to say, okay, we finally have a Captain America who looks like different people.
One thing I want them to bring back, because I think I see what you're saying, and they really are trying to. I don't think that. I personally still don't see the disrespect necessarily, but I do know that they are trying to show at the moment why Falcon can become Captain America, right? Like, and it's an aspect of him I haven't seen before that is making me more like his character. It's not quite the same as Steve, but it's got certain elements of that kind of nobility where he's going up to people, trying to be understanding, trying to be empathetic, trying to not, not always win the fight because he's not the strongest dog in the fight, but he's the one who's got the most grit and the most, he'll keep standing up and keep fighting and keep going. I do like that aspect that they're teasing out, and I've been more fond of that aspect than any of the stuff with the race. Or, I even told you how boring his character was in the first episode with the boat and the bank stuff. I never thought that was really compelling. I was like, they're just trying to make him interesting when he hasn't been interesting in the whole of the MCU. But so I like them teasing and bringing that kind of aspect, but I want them to bring the humor back of him as well, like to match that kind of nobility with a little bit of that humor, so he's not just trying to take Steve's place, because I think that would be disrespectful if all of a sudden this guy who's been a joker all the way through the MCU, suddenly he's like all like, oh, I'm serious and I'm understanding and I'm empathetic and I'm always trying to see the good in people. That wasn't your character before, bro. That just wasn't like. So I'd like them to balance that out a bit, because it could have been his character. We just didn't know that because we didn't see that much of him. But to do that 180, like he hasn't made a joke in the last 2 episodes, right? Like something like that.
He joked around with his sister, but he didn't make he hasn't. You're right. He hasn't felt like Anthony Mackie for about an episode and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, Falcon isn't like a jokey guy in the comics. He's actually not even comic accurate. He's just like Anthony Mackie, but I like him.
Consistency of what we've seen of him,
I guess like all the things that that's the thing, is that Isaiah Bradley's story is shaking him up so much that his world is shaken and he's losing his humor. Like, I don't know. Like, and imagine this show. Who's your favorite hero? Wonder Woman, right?
No, I like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman equally.
Okay, I've heard you talk about Wonder. Let's just do Wonder Woman right now.
All right, Wonder Woman.
Imagine this show. Everything is the exact same, but just change it to a Wonder Woman show. And they're changing it to Wonder Woman's gone, and now they're doing a new black woman, and they're having these conversations about race, and they're using her lasso just as good as her. You would be like, damn, this is rubbing me the wrong way. Like, they're fucking with Diana. Diana was Wonder Woman.
Human? You mean like a human doing that?
No, somebody who is still like strong, I guess, like a weaker Themyscirian. But yeah, somebody who's clearly weaker than her, but can use
being racist and stuff like that.
Everything's the same except for it's a Wonder Woman or Superman. You'd be like, man, they're really. I don't like. There's only one Wonder Woman. At least call your. Look, if he called himself something else, I'd be okay with it.
If they did that with Wonder Woman, I'd be pissed. But that plays so against her character that it doesn't make any sense. It's not like
plays against Steve's character.
It's not like she's representing America. I mean, like, and she's from Themyscira. She's from an island that's a paradise island. It doesn't in no way make sense to her character. Whereas he's Captain America. Like he doesn't
represent. If he represents America.
Wait a second. I would say that if they did this with something like Superman.
Oh, let's say Superman or Flash.
No, definitely it wouldn't work. Like, again, it's because he's Captain America. You've got to have the conversation because he's Captain America. If you're gonna do a race swap with Captain America, it's completely different. And there is a sense in which, because of the symbolism of America, even though it's nothing to do with Steve's character, and Steve is the opposite of that, but because of that, I can understand that conversation coming up. I can't fathom why you would have that kind of racial conversation about a black Wonder Woman. Like, it wouldn't make any sense unless.
Okay, I agree with you.
Yeah, go on.
But I agree with you if more people in the show defended Steve's legacy. The only people who were defending Steve, saying this is fucked up, is Bucky and fucking Zemo. Zemo's giving more respect to Steve in one sentence than Sam did. Like, Sam just
respect to Steve. I don't think he's disrespected Steve, and I certainly don't think he's not given he's given respect to Steve. He's mentioned him fondly. I think every time he's mentioned him fondly. I think he's worried about himself being in the suit and being Captain America. That's what I see.
But why? Is it because he can't live up to it, or is it because of his race?
I think both. I think both things are playing into it. And I think any black person who was in a situation where they were going to represent somebody who had been so beloved by America for being a symbol of America, being a symbol of the best, and then suddenly a black person steps into that role, I do think that these kind of thoughts will cross their mind. So I think it's realistic from a black person's point of view, from me being a black person, that, oh, okay, I can see, if suddenly I had to become Captain Britain or something, I'd be, representing Queen and country, I'd have a lot of issues in my mind, about that. I don't know if other people would have issues. Maybe the world's moved on so that most white people would be like, yeah, cool, JP, you're Captain Britain or whatever. Like, that's perfectly plausible. But in my mind, I would have issues. So I can see that Falcon having some issues. And I agree with you. He should be making it clear that they're talking about America, not Captain America. He's talking about representing America and stepping into that symbolism, not that, Steve Trevor has anything to do with that, with the other legacy of America, if you see what I mean.
Disrespectful.
So I agree with that. I do. I totally agree with that.
So let me ask you a question. Does Sam fucking Rogers, now I'm getting mixed up. Does Sam Wilson represent all black people?
How do you mean?
Just as a person, does Sam Wilson represent all black people?
Well, no black person represents all black people.
All right, then one flag and one shield can't represent America.
No, it can. What are you talking about?
It can't.
A flag does represent America because that's the national flag.
The shield is not the flag. The shield is just the color of the flag.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree with you that in that sense, they're disrespect. They need to make sure that they separate what they mean by, just like Obama becoming president, right? It's like, by Obama becoming president and worrying, oh shit, like, what are they going to think of me? He's not therefore saying, oh, Abraham Lincoln was racist. Do you know what I mean? That's the equivalent. That would be like spitting on Abraham Lincoln's grave. Like if they were doing a show about Obama becoming president and they kept going back to Abraham Lincoln and being like, hey, that guy was white, so he represents America and all the problem. That's disrespectful. You can't do that. You can say America, I'm worried, like, how's America going to take me? How, as a black person and the history and all of that, fine. But you have to separate that from the actual person who Steve Rogers, who was an absolute great guy, both on and off screen, actually, in a way. Like, I respect Chris, what's his name? Chris
Evans.
Chris Evans. Yeah, I respect him as a person as well. And so I think
he's okay.
I respect him. I don't agree with everything he says, but I respect him, and I respect someone who stands for what they believe in. They stand for what they believe in, even if people are going to dislike them for it. You
respect Hitler?
Yeah, but that's too far. He's killing people. I'm not.
Chris Evans murdered my family. I'm going to say it right now.
It murdered my. I heard about him murdering those children in Texas. It's.
I think the problem is that.
Look, yeah. So again, I think you're right in what you're saying about, like, don't connect it with him specifically, with the character.
The biggest problem that we have is the fact that a black man would even have to think in 2021, like that, like what are people going to think? It shouldn't be about that. This is coming from a white person, and I don't want to sound tone deaf here, but we don't live in 1940 anymore. It's not 1960. People are so much that racism still does exist. But people are the majority of people are so much more giving and loving and accepting now. You'd have a couple million people who would throw the N-word around and stuff, but out of the 330 million people in America, most people would be okay with Sam. And I think that it's just sad that black people even have to think, I can't even be Captain America. Like that mindset. And I'm not trying to throw away the history, but I think we've gotten to a point where Obama is president. He wasn't killed. He was voted in twice. Like anything, a black man can do anything. LeBron James, Derek Jeter, Patrick Mahomes. They have gotten to the highest standard, the highest level of their professions. They've become rich, become president. I think we're at a point where a black man wouldn't be like, it wouldn't be their whole character to think, what's going to happen if I become Captain America and I'm black? I think we're in a more accepting time now where racism does still happen. We see it on video happen, but it's sad that I don't think that should even be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, but you're forgetting, like, look, there's all the Karens, there's a number, there's a number of things. I don't want to go into like the reality of racism in America.
There'd be a few million people that would be harsh.
I'm just saying that there's again, my point is, if you're telling a story and you're telling a story of a black person there's stories where race doesn't matter, where if you just bring race into a certain story, even if it's a black person play, you've got a romantic comedy and two people are going out with each other and you're just banging on and on and on about race. It's like, come on, guys. It's like 2021. People are more accepting of that kind of stuff, whatever, right? You can do that, but I don't think it's necessary, right? Like all the time. But this story, I do think it warrants it. Does it warrant as much of it as has been in the show? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. You're right. It could have been done in 1-2 episodes, something like that. But you can't tell me that he wouldn't be thinking, just like I said, just like Obama. I bet you if you asked him, he was probably thinking, or Michelle, must be thinking, First Lady. I'm the first black lady who's going to be First Lady. There's certain things I have to think about in terms of how I represent myself, how I, and I think that for me is a realistic thing that needed to be addressed. So that I don't see as disrespectful. What I do agree with you as, if they don't kind of like fix this, especially once he becomes Captain America, if they don't show the respect to Steve, I'll have a problem with that. They need to show the respect to Steve.
Yeah. He did. I'm thinking about it. He did respect him when he gave him that speech at the Smithsonian in the first episode. He was like, "There was only one Captain America. It was you." But,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't take that away from the show.
I
think he's gone. It's not like he's changed his mind on that. They haven't like tried to show like, oh, he's changed his mind on that. I forgot about that. That's a good point, man. You've made for the other side. I have no sides in this fight. But
Sam has just gone back and forth so much, and I just think the reason that he's gone back and forth is because like one story of something that happened to Isaiah Bradley is shaking his world to a point that he's questioning everything, and now he's cool with being Captain America. If it was Bucky, if it was Hawkeye, like anybody being Captain America just rubs me the wrong way. Like there's one Captain America. It was lazy in the comics. It's lazy now. Black or white or Asian or Mexican. Just stop. Make his own character. Like I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Have him make a new shield and spray paint it a different color. Don't take Steve's shield and just take his mantle. He is Captain America. You're not.
But I think Steve should come back eventually. But like you can have a like storyline where they do a couple of movies where he's Captain America, and then bring back Steve, and they'll both be Captain Americas at the same time.
Nerd man.
Let me. I'm willing to see what happens. I don't think Anthony Mackie's up to the job, but I'm willing to see what happens. He's shown me some things that were interesting. Join Discord if you want to. I don't get that. All right. So I'm gonna go on to just do a couple of comments before we leave.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the comments.
All right. So we've got Superwise who said, I don't think the Falcon and the Winter Soldier disrespected Steve. In fact, it did the opposite. I was worried about the Isaiah Bradley situation because in the comics, he technically was the first Cap. I don't like that. I don't like
now in the show, if Isaiah Bradley's story happened and they tried to cover it up and put a black man in jail and then made Steve Captain America, I would kind of get it. But this happened already after Steve was Captain America.
About that, come on, everyone would be going, "Oh, that's woke, man. That's woke. I'm not watching the show anymore." They know, that would have happened. So it would
have been better though if it happened. I'm just saying he's acting like it's the Shield's fault because that seems like something that would have happened in the 40s. You test it on a black man, it works, and then you jail him and then give it to a blonde hair white guy. That's something that would have happened. But they tested on him and did all his shit after Steve. So I don't get why he's so shaken up. Sam is so shaken up about it.
That's actually a good story, but like that would be a good story actually. But I feel like that needs almost its own thing. Like, well, yeah, no, you could use Falcon to tell that story. That's true. But yeah, that would be fucked up if that was the story, and if that's the story in the comics.
And then he would have actually been like, he deserves to be Captain America. But that didn't. They're making it out to like this happened after Steve was already maybe even frozen in the ice, because they got like secondhand super soldier serum, and fucked with this guy. But it's not as hard. It would have been better and more realistic for it to shaken up Sam's world if it should have been a black guy first, and then they hid that. But they didn't. They did it after Steve.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's another good point, man. But the show made Bradley Cap in Korean War. I'm glad, because to me, who Jack Kirby and Joe Simon created Steve to be the first super soldier. I agree with that, but at the same time, what Philosophical Pickle said was actually a compelling story. So I wouldn't have minded it in that context, because it would have been a better reason for this guy to have been mad at Steve, even though it wasn't Steve's fault. Because obviously Steve would have, but I would have wanted, if they did that story, I would have wanted Falcon to say Steve would have never allowed that, like Steve wouldn't have been party to that.
Steve would have broken Bradley out of the prison.
To be honest, that kind of shits on the Jewish scientist as well. That would be that would have been really disrespectful to him. So maybe I wouldn't have liked that actually.
The only way I'll be okay with him being Cap, and even if it's forced, I don't give a damn. I want to see old man Steve come back and give Sam one last speech saying like, "You can do it. I give you my." But not fucking. He already gave him his permission. He fucking, guess what? He gave him the shield. People at home, he gave him the shield and shook his hand and said, "I'll do my best." And Cap said, "That's why it's yours. Not because you're black, not because you're a man, not because you're from Louisiana, but because you're a good person." That is what the show should be about. And I think they've delineated from that.
Yeah, they needed to build up Falcon a bit more before doing that, though.
And Superwise, you don't think that Sam just casually throwing the shield like a badass is disrespectful to Steve? Come on, man. Come on, man. They're basically saying that anybody can throw the shield.
As you know, to be fair, like a lot of humans can do crazy shit, like Black Widow and stuff can do crazy shit.
But humans can do backflips and like stunt people are actually doing that,
bro. She does it. She's taking on Chitauri. She's hanging off fucking the Chitauri flying vehicle. It was crazy shit she was doing. She was doing more than backflips, bro.
But the shield throwing is so iconic. Like, Cap. The shield throwing is Cap's move.
She acts like she's a super soldier, straight up. Even Hawkeye acts a little bit like a super soldier sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? How are you doing that shit? So, yeah, I mean, look, throwing the shield, at least they did it so he was practicing and learn. But I just don't see why they don't give him the super soldier serum. Like, have him, and I like, one of the things I was going to say I really like about him is that he is more of a John McClane type. He's that noble guy who doesn't give up the fight, but he is not the best dog in the fight. What makes him, if he becomes Captain America, what makes him Captain America is that courage to do the right thing always, even if he thinks he's going to lose. And that's what Captain America does. So I think they should just give him the super serum. Just give him the super serum, or give him some other way of having some powers and let him get on with it.
He doesn't want it. And like, what is the right thing in this show? The right thing to him is sympathizing with a murderer and then letting John Walker kill people. Like, Sam hasn't done shit to prove that he can be Cap. He's done what any hero would do.
He was trying to bring her in without killing her, which is a good thing.
Yes.
He's just trying to kill her. Another thing that I don't get is Captain America kills folks all the time. So I don't understand what him killing a terrorist is like. Maybe because it was caught on camera, I guess, and that was reflecting like people catching on camera these days, police brutality. But like, to be honest, Captain America's been pretty brutal to people.
Cap has killed people, but it's the fact that he's never thrown a shield at a guy from behind, and then when the guy was putting his hands up, just went and bashed his neck in. He's only killed people like in the heat of battle. He avidly chased him down to murder him on camera. But yeah, Cap he's a savage.
Yeah, but all right, but it's not as big a deal like him killing someone as they're making out, though. I mean,
realistically,
considering what happened before, he shouldn't be Captain America anymore. That's true. But considering what happened before, he was in an heightened emotional state, and I mean, it was murder. To be fair, it really was. But he'd killed his best friend. So I'm saying in the show, I don't think it reflects as badly on him as some. And he's my favorite character in the show. I think he's really interesting. As a character.
I loved the opening fight when they are like, you really see the desperation on their faces trying to rip that shield from him, and then like they fucking have to break his arm to rip it off. And there's that shot of John Walker and Bucky like yelling at each other. Like, that was good, man. That was really good. But like, realistically, Captain America would have decapitated so many people, and there would have been blood on that shield so many times. Like, they're acting like this is the first time there's blood on the shield. Come on, he's murdered people.
Yeah, exactly.
Nazi blood.
So, as you know, I'm a Cap super fanboy. So if the show did something offensive to Cap, I'd freak. But luckily, the show showed respect to Steve. Interesting. Goes really against. As the Captain America brand, when Isaiah Bradley said they'd never let a black man be Cap, I found that hard to believe. We are accepting as a society today. Interesting. And in the show, it's not one-sided, which I like. Falcon doesn't want to accept the shield, but Bucky supports the brand and everything because it means so much more. Totally agree with you, Pickle, about Sam. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
One thing I was going to pick up on that you said before we leave is that Sam tells Bucky, don't worry, don't care what Steve thinks. I think that was I think it was could have been written better, but I think that's taken wrong. I think he means don't let like this, I guess, a ghost. But Captain America's still alive, by the way. He's just in a different timeline, right? It's not like he's
somewhere.
dead.
He's alive because he says Steve is gone. He doesn't say dead.
because they're treating him like he's dead, and I find that
I think the world thinks he's dead, but like they think he died in the battle of Endgame. I guess it's not really clear, but like Sam knows that he's just gone somewhere.
Yeah. So, but I don't know why Sam and Bucky are treating him like he's dead. But anyway, so Sam is saying, in that scene, like you can't let anybody, define you in such a way that your whole sense of self and ability to enjoy life and continue on is defined by what you think somebody else would think about you. And I understand that. I think that was the advice he was giving him. Like,
I agree.
Of course, it's important what Captain America would think of you. It's as your best friends, but you can't let it, because what he's thinking that Captain America's thinking about him is false. It's not true. He's creating a fiction in his own mind that Captain America would be disappointed in him when he wouldn't. So, in that sense, he's saying if he's wrong about you, then he's wrong about me. It's like that's not a fair thing for him to put on Sam's shoulders, but it's also not a good way for you to worry about your life. You can't worry about
love that line.
What line?
If he was wrong about you, he was wrong about me. That was a fantastic moment.
It's a fantastic line, but he shouldn't be thinking like that, right?
I agree in practice and concept that, yeah, I mean, of course, like don't let anybody control you. But when Bucky is alone at night, having nightmares about killing people, and he's questioning his humanity, thinking, am I going to flip again? I got to go make amends. I've killed people. Should I kill myself? Like, then he thinks in his head, no, the one person who believed in me, Steve, he had me till the end of the line. The one person who brought him back from those dark thoughts is what Steve thought about him. So that's why that line just, I get, yes, in practice, it does work, but it just rubbed me the wrong way how he said it so bluntly and just compiled with everything else that was happening about what I perceived as disrespecting Steve. I was just like, damn, man. Like, you're just kind of forgetting about Steve. I don't like it.
You're right. All right, last two comments and then we're out of here.
Right.
I see what you're saying about the shield throw. Falcon needed way more time to work at it. You bring up a good point about Falcon throwing it without a problem. Then we get the montage. I don't think he ever threw it without a problem, and then because the way
he threw it 3 times.
The way he was throwing it on the montage was on a different level. What he was trying to do was on a completely different level from what he'd been doing before.
So you cut to that scene.
Aspect of him as well. Like
you cut to that scene, and he's throwing it with ease 3 or 4 times. Then it cuts to the montage where it's wobbling. They should have made the montage first.
When he was throwing it the first time, it was just bouncing off something and catching it again.
Yeah.
Afterwards, he was doing backflips and doing stuff like that, and then catching it.
So dumb.
Certain other things. Yeah, it's true.
Why was he doing a backflip while catching it? Come on.
Yeah, what Falcon said about it doesn't matter. What he thinks could have been phrased much better, but it's definitely up to interpretation. Nerdman, you might have something there. All right. If he's wrong about you, he's wrong about me. Such a great line. Yeah, absolutely true. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Interesting discussion. I'm going to watch it a little bit more carefully now. I am a Captain America fan, so I'll watch it with what you've said in mind. I guess I just wasn't thinking about that when I was watching it. I was mostly bored for most new episodes, and then I started kind of concentrating a bit more. But I still don't know Isaiah's actual story, because I just switch off during that.
Yeah, you must have just been not paying attention. That was a good scene when he was like, he gave him the pictures and he was like, Sam, I loved her so much. Like, I was welling up a bit. Like, damn, man, like they fucked this guy.
All right, I honestly was like, I didn't really. I was listening a bit, but I was just like, I was more interested in like the storyline with the other Captain America after he'd killed a person, and I was interested in little bits of the interactions between Bucky and Falcon. I wasn't interested in the boat stuff. I kind of switched off a bit during that as well.
The boat stuff lasted a little too long. They threw like one, like it just kept going, and like there's like an extra scene of them working on it with no dialogue. I was like, you could have taken that out or had them like speak about something.
Yeah, true. Anyway, we'll continue this discussion off stream because I want to leave this as an hour. But thanks so much, guys. As always, awesome comments and Philosophical Pickle. Subscribe to him. Great channel, does great content. Always love talking to you, man. I'll put you in the I'll put you in the title as well. But yeah, guys, thanks so much. It's been great. I'll see you on the side, I guess. Go on.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is I'm with you till the end of the line, pal.
On the left. All right. Guys, see you on the flip side. And yeah, we will see you to the end of the line as well. See you on the flip side. Like, subscribe, comment, and I love you 3000. Peace.